Apart from the 60 hours that our school at least requires, I think just going back to the whole awareness thing, as to because where we live right now, we live like in this tiny bubble in our whole county, because just our place right here does not like project everything else of what this county is. So I feel just being involved and reaching out to your community, seeing what the real world problems are here today.
It's very important for schools to educate their students and encourage them to take part in global and local actions and community service work, because we are the future and we are the ones who are going to make the world a better place. And that can't happen if we're not educated and we aren't involved. And now is just a good time as ever to start and to become aware of your planet, your community, and make change.
Putting one thing in each?
Yeah, so like this one of each.
Okay.
We're taking a trip down to Los Angeles to a thing called We Day. And so while we're there, we're going to make some lunches for the homeless. So right now we're going to start packing up some lunches for the homeless. They're going to have chips, they're going to have a sandwich, they're going to have some snacks.
Carolyn Mierzwa is a Carmel High student with a giving heart that is mature far beyond her years. She has a passion for those facing struggles, and she's dedicated all of her free time that she's had in her senior year to families with kids that are undergoing critical care treatment at UCSF Children's Hospital. She's done it at a special place called Family House. Carolyn's family has been her inspiration.
So my little cousin, he's now 7 years old. He's been struggling with cystic fibrosis since he was little, so I've been pretty much following his story since I was young, so it's kind of just been, that's always been on my mind, and I've always been helping him.
It's not worth fighting for if one of us is sure.
And so she sought out a live-in internship at Family House last summer, spending 6 weeks there, doing anything she could to help those with kids in pain or undergoing treatment.
I was very familiar with the process that the families were going through at Family House, where they would sleep on the floors of hospitals, they'd sleep in their cars, they would not shower for days, they'd have one change of clothes. So my own family went through that, so when I found something like Family House, I thought that connection was instantly there.
And her compassion has been an inspiration. When the school year got underway, Carolyn joined up with a school group called This Club Saves Lives. Lee Canberra guides the group in finding ways to make a difference. Carolyn already had some ideas.
So when she came to me, I thought, this is exactly what we're trying to do. We're trying to do different things. We're trying to have it be totally student focused, that it comes from them.
Together, they started a drive among freshmen to provide toiletries for those at Family House. They're desperate necessities that make a difference. She pitched those freshmen with the help of the team, and even Carolyn was surprised at what they did.
And in no way, shape, or form did we expect to collect over 3,000. So we definitely brought the Family House attention to them.
Best of all, the club delivered everything personally, and they were so moved at how something so simple could mean so much.
To actually be able to go out and inspire other students to want to keep doing this kind of stuff has just been, I think, really important for me and important for the other students on campus to see what they could do.
And they're not stopping there. Now the group is putting together meal bags they'll deliver to the homeless on the streets of Los Angeles. Carolyn's family, by the way, happens to be trapped by the storms in Big Sur, so she knows the plight of so many there. So that's the next project.
We're going to start collecting money for Big Sur and trying to collect some things to help out the families in Big Sur, because I myself have been affected by what's been happening in Big Sur, but I also know many families that have been struggling more severely than I would have ever even imagined people were, so we're definitely going to try to help them in any way we can.
And she's willing to spend all her free time to do it, as she has all along, because to her, it's not work. For Carolyn, it's just a good time.
Everything I've been doing has purely been fun, and I've loved doing it, so it was great.
Hello, my name is Coral Rose Sunshine Barrett, and I'm searching for a solution to an underaddressed, unfortunate reality. Slavery still exists. Most people cannot even fathom this fact. Even our history classes teach us that the Emancipation Proclamation freed the slaves. Yet, as we also know from these social studies courses, history repeats itself. Human trafficking is an act that involves the use of force, fraud, or coercion to obtain some type of labor or commercial sex act. This is in fact modern-day slavery. And many intelligent people are not aware that this is not just an issue in third world countries. It is happening here in our communities. Victims of both sex and labor trafficking could pass you by in the streets, serve you dinner, be in the hotel room next to you, and you may not even know it. And these trafficking victims could be the peacemakers, the inventors, the scientists, the activists of the future. But you see, when 21 million victims of human trafficking, their potential is being lost, not to mention the suffering and trauma that these men and women go through. So, slavery still exists, and it's on a global level. After discovering this, I not only set out to understand why this is so tightly woven into our society, I set out to combat it. Due to my experience in planning and leading events to promote awareness for mental health, women's education, hunger, and equality, I had the confidence and drive to commence my journey. You are never too young to take action in something that you are passionate about. This is an outlook I try to emphasize in this Club Saves Lives, the club in which I've been president of for the past 2 years. And I've seen the passion for positive change skyrocket at our school. Honestly, why isn't this mantra taught in all schools? Maybe I will. Actually, we will change this one day. So, after being the youngest to attend an intensive human trafficking conference alongside lawyers, social workers, and police officers, I felt inspired to learn even more by immersing myself in a project. So, over the past few months, Jamie Miller from the YWCA and I have planned the creation of a human trafficking resource center in Salinas, California. The goal being to give victims a second chance. I encourage my club, local artists, my dance group, and even many students from other schools in the community to refurbish and paint a rundown house. We transformed it into a resource center for trafficking victims. Along with all of the long hours painting walls, ceilings, windows, and doors, this Club Saves Lives collected and made hundreds of outreach bags for the victims. They included shampoo, soap, chapstick, hand lotion, and other toiletries. The center offers counseling, childcare, and other basic necessities that the victim may need while they're in the YWCA 12-month program in a confidentially located safe house. Along with this, the center provides both creative classes, such as art and dance, and classes to help the victims finish an education and get a job. I personally will be teaching African and Latin dance therapy. The creation of the house has taught me even more about people and behavior than any psychology textbook could. I learned about the dehumanization of both the perpetrator and the victim, and have been able to brainstorm ideas of how to actually stop this travesty from occurring. And I will not stop with this project. I'll continue to create resource centers for trafficking victims. I will keep discovering novel and unique ways to help the victims recover and follow their dreams. And I will, whether it be with psychology, education, research, art, policy, or innovation, discover the root cause of human trafficking and stop this from happening. Thank you so much for having me tonight, and if you have passions similar to mine, or even totally different, please talk to me, email me, call me, and I will help you brainstorm ideas so that you can put your pursuits into practice. Thank you.
I joined this Club Saves Lives because I want to give back to the community locally and globally while meeting new people along the way.
I think this club has really helped me become more of a leader because I hope in my future I'm going to work in a hospital, and some days I'm gonna have to stand out, and I'm gonna have to use those leadership skills that I've learned in this club. So I feel like it really benefited me.
It was last week when she cried to me and told me she wished she looked like someone else. But how could she wish when that boy looks as if she put the blue in the sky? And how could she wish when she is that pretty girl in our grade? I don't know how to tell her she's beautiful. My mother never warned me about this. My mother warned me about cigarettes and blackened lungs and drunk driving and drugs, but my mother never told me how hating yourself is just as pure of a poison as Hennessy or Newports. I've met thousands of girls in my life with so much love to give, and not a single one of those girls gave that love to herself. Not a single one of those girls told me that she loved herself. When I asked if you could look like anyone else in the entire world, who would it be? The answers ranged from Megan Fox to Angelina Jolie to her own best friend, but not a single one of the girls said, I'm completely happy looking like me. A letter to my future daughter. Don't you dare ever hate yourself. The same way I hated myself, in the same way my mother hated herself, in the same way her mother hated herself, and on the endless list goes. I know my way around the maze of mental illness, and like so many others, you will not follow me there. To the twisted routes where the numbers of calories in sugar-free gum and envelope glue reside, to the sudden stops of self-harm and self-loathing, to the dead ends of death and discouragement and utter hopelessness, there are so many of us women lost in this maze of self-hate. And it's got less to do with the magazines or the media, and less to do with the beautiful woman on TV, and even more to do with how your mother responds when you tell her you feel fat, and how your best friend comforts you when you tell her you feel ugly. You all have been taught that self-hate is normal, a phase in your life that some of you may never outgrow. A letter to my future daughter. Hating yourself is not normal. Diets are not normal. Laxatives and miracle weight losses and Photoshop women on the cover of Vogue magazine is not normal. And someone once told me the women in the magazines don't even look like the women in the magazines, and I know that's hard to believe, and I know what self-hatred is. Trust me, I guarantee that there are days where it's almost impossible to be me. And it's become harder and harder for you all to see that you are all beautiful. A letter to my future daughter. Love yourself. Unconditionally, passionately, happily. When I ask you if you could look like anyone else in the world, who would it be? I want you to say me. When I ask you who is the most beautiful